I swear on everything, if you've never heard someone laugh while catching their best friend cheating with their ex, buckle up. Because I didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't throw hands. I laughed loud, like I'd just watched the universe finally do stand-up comedy for my personal enjoyment. And the wildest part, they both thought I was losing my mind, when in reality Karma had just clocked in for her shift. Picture this, I'm pressed against the inside of my own walk-in closet, holding my breath, watching dust float in the sunbeam, slicing through the slats of the door. On the other side of that door, I hear wet noises and soft giggles. Then Sarah's voice, my little rue die. Since high school, says, I just feel like this is such a better fit. She'll get over it. I bite my lip hard. Not because I'm hurt, but because if I make even one sound, I'm gonna ruin this immaculate moment of stupidity that they're giving me. Then Mike, the ex, grunts like he's the villain in a bad CW show and whispers, yeah, she always was too emotional. That one almost made me snort. Emotional? Buddy, you haven't even scratched the surface of what I don't cry about. The giggles get louder, sheets shift, someone's leg knocks against my dresser, a perfume bottle falls and clinks to the floor. And me, I suddenly have this urge to laugh so bad my ribs are shaking, because all I can think is, wow, Sarah, you really wanted to speedrun your life on hard mode, huh? Let me rewind so you get why this betrayal should have shattered me. Sarah wasn't just a friend. She was the kind of friend who sat cross-legged on my kitchen floor at 3 a.m. eating pizza bites and trash-talking Tinder boys. We shared outfits, passwords, Spotify playlists, and the kind of secrets you only tell the person who's seen you ugly cry after a breakup. She watched Mike and I start. She watched us fight. She watched us travel and make up and plan our dumb Pinterest future. She knew every flaw, every kink in our communication, every detail of what I loved about him and what I could tolerate. And the entire time, she wore that I just want you happy mask that now makes me want to bleach my memories. Back then, I would have said she was the closest thing I had to a sister. Joke's on me, because apparently she wanted the experienced too. Here's where the story takes the first sharp turn. I didn't break up with Mike because he cheated. I didn't break up because of Sarah. I broke up because Mike had a secret that could burn a hole straight through someone's sanity, and I kept it quiet. For him, because I'm not heartless, and because I thought protecting his dignity was the last decent thing I could do for someone I once almost loved. The easiest way to explain it without spoilers, imagine a man with the self-control of a raccoon in a casino dumpster, combined with the financial judgment of a toddler playing with a credit card machine. Was it gambling debt? Was it some 4 a.m. crypto cult? Was it a bizarre medical fetish that belonged on a government watch list? Viewers always guess wrong, and trust me, the real answer is so much funnier and so much darker than any of those options. The point is, I was walking away from a ticking time bomb with my name scratched off and his next victim's name already inked on the side. So there I am, in the closet, listening to our 2-month-old breakup get reheated into a cheap motel room fantasy between Sarah and Mike. At some point she actually says, God, I can't wait for her to find out. Bold, I'll give her that. When things quiet down, I slide the closet door open like a movie villain making their entrance. Sarah jerks back, eyes hued, hair a mess, lipstick smeared like she'd just crawled out of a frat party. Mike freezes. His brain always needed buffering time, so I wasn't surprised. Then Sarah clears her throat like she's defending a TED Talk and says, okay, I know how this looks, but we're actually in love. I swear I crossed my legs so I wouldn't pee from laughing. In love, after 2 months, with a man who couldn't love himself enough to stop doom spending his paycheck on the exact addiction I haven't revealed yet. But the real cherry on top, she smirked. She actually smirked. Like I was supposed to crumble, cry, beg, or scream. Instead, I just looked at them and said, congrats, you two deserve each other. Sarah blinked, confused. Mike looked like someone just unplugged his last working brain cell. Before I walked out, Sarah whispered under her breath, she's too proud to admit she's hurt. Oh, honey, pride wasn't the issue. Awareness was. She had no idea what she had just signed up for. And that realization, that's why the laughter finally broke out of me. I laughed right out the bedroom door and down the hall like the villain in a Disney Channel original revenge arc. Most people ask, why didn't you fight? Why didn't you expose them? Why were you laughing? Simple. Because I knew something they didn't. I knew the secret that made Mike radioactive. I knew Sarah had just inherited a nightmare I escaped from. And I knew the best revenge is never confrontation. It's silence, patience, and letting someone meet their own consequences. But what was the secret? What was the nightmare I refused to warn her about? And how fast did it start unraveling their love story? Sarah always assumed I'd be a fireworks girl, loud explosions, glittering rage, messy aftermath. What she didn't factor in was that fireworks don't scare people. Silence does. Silence makes people narrate their own guilt. And there's no soundtrack more torturous than the one inside your own head. The second I hit the living room, I could hear them scrambling behind me, pants, shirts, excuses. Sarah came chasing me down the stairs barefoot, clutching Mike's hoodie like it was a prize. She was red-faced, hair knotted, but still somehow trying to look composed. She cleared her throat again, like betrayal was a presentation she forgot to rehearse for. "Look, I'm sorry," she said, voice trembling but trying to sound noble. "We didn't plan for this. It just happened. We're in love, and we didn't want to hurt you." I turned around slowly, studying her like she was a strange new product on a grocery shelf. In love. 2 months after a breakup and roughly 30 minutes after performing Olympic level cardio on my comforter. Bold claims. Then Mike shuffled behind her, eyes down, scratching the back of his neck. His apology was not even an apology, just a whiny. "It's just, we fit better. If I were a weaker woman, that might have stabbed me. Instead, it felt like someone tried to insult me with coupons for expired yoga cheap plan, and not worth reacting to. So I did the most terrifying thing I could do. I laughed, not a polite giggle, not a nervous chuckle. I laughed like I just watched someone confess they traded a winning lottery ticket for store credit at Dollar Tree." Sarah blinked hard, thrown off. She expected heartbreak or rage, something she could weaponize later when she told mutual friends her version of the story. What she got instead was comedy. "You're seriously laughing?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Good luck, you're gonna need it." And with that, I grabbed my keys and walked out. I didn't block her, didn't confront her, didn't even gossip. I just went ghost. People underestimate the psychological violence of silence. It's surgical, precise, cuts deeper than yelling ever could. Within hours, the texts began. First, "Hey, can we talk?" Then, "I feel like you're being immature. I'm trying to be honest." By midnight, "You're really not gonna respond." At 3 a.m., the paragraph bombs dropped. "I don't know what you think you know about Mike, but we're adults. I'm not stupid. I know what I'm doing. Stop acting superior." There it was, the insecurity. When people are confident in their choices, it'll scream into the void, demanding validation from the person they betrayed. I left her to read, and I could practically hear the echo of her own thoughts tormenting her. 3 days later, I got the first sign that Comma didn't just clock in, she was working overtime. I'm at Target, debating which scented candle smells like emotional healing, when Sarah texts, "Do you know anyone named Luis? He's been calling." Mike nonstop. I smirked at the phone. Lose. Oh, lose. Sweet, persistent, chain-smoking lose. The man had the patience of a monk and the aggression of a repo agent with nothing left to lose. Seconds later, Sarah sends, "Now some woman is calling. I think it's his sister, not his sister." But Sarah didn't need all the spoilers at once. Teasing is fun. Letting a villain unwrap their own fate is even better. Then the cherry text. They said Mike owes them money. Money was a sanitized word for it. Owes was generous. Is hunted by would have been more accurate. I didn't respond. Sarah tried again later. "Why didn't you tell me you two broke up?" "Because he's financially irresponsible." Financially irresponsible is what you call someone who forgets to cancel a subscription. Mike was on a whole different tier of chaos. He once pawned his gaming laptop to buy crypto coins that didn't even exist on real exchanges. He believed in NFTs after their funeral. He joined an online gambling server run by a man whose profile picture was a golden retriever wearing sunglasses. That's not irresponsible. That's spiritual bankruptcy. And now, Sarah was the new co-signer in hell, caught between confusion and fear. Sarah did what every delusional couple does during the honeymoon phase of disaster. She doubled down on public displays of happiness. 2 days later, she posted a picture of them at brunch. Caption: "Sometimes love finds you in unexpected places." I zoomed in. Mike looked like he hadn't slept since the Carter administration. Sarah was smiling, but her eyes were asking the photographer for a lifeline. And behind them, you looked closely. There was a stack of unpaid mail on the table. Unpaid mail is the universal sign that someone's life is about to catch fire. Friends started texting me. "Did you know Sarah and Mike are together? Are you okay? You're being so mature about this. Oh my God." But I wasn't being mature, I was being strategic. Maturity's overrated strategies in art. Mike wasn't the kind of mistake you warn someone about. He's the kind of mistake you let someone study firsthand. Because here's the thing. When you warn a friend about a man, you become the villain. When you stay silent, the man does the job for you. On the eve of week 2, Sarah finally snapped and sent the message that made me cackle. "Why did you laugh that day?" What do you know? There it was. The panic. The dawning horror. The realization that love wasn't the prize Mike was. But here's the kicker. She wasn't texting me from her number anymore. She was texting from Mike's phone, which meant one thing. She didn't have a phone. And I knew exactly why. And just like that, the curiosity loop tightens. Because the nightmare hadn't even fully surfaced yet. If you think repo men showing up is bad, just wait until you hear what Mike did with her savings. If honeymoon phases are supposed to feel like sipping margaritas on a beach at sunset, Sarah and Mike's felt more like chugging lukewarm tap water in a Waffle House parking lot. Fluorescent lights, with a raccoon staring you down for dominance. Nasty, and somehow humiliating even for the raccoon. I didn't even have to stalk them, really. Instagram stalked me on their behalf. The algorithm shoved their new couple pics into my face like it was pushing a Black Friday TV into a suburban mom's cart. Each post screamed love, but the backgrounds whispered hostage situation. In one selfie, Sarah was smiling with all her teeth like she was auditioning for toothpaste commercials, but behind her was a motel ice bucket and a stained curtain that looked like it had seen crime scenes. Mike was in the back holding up a plastic cup like he was toasting to their shared descent into low-budget chaos. But the caption said everything. She wanted people to believe, "Don't judge what you don't understand, girl. Trust me, no one understands." That's the problem. Then the story started. You know the type. Soft launch of him matching hoodies, Sunday adventures, but all the adventures were suspiciously indoors, featuring mismatched furniture, metal chairs, and a microwave with peeling paint. Not quite the Pinterest board she manifested. The algorithm also showed me something else's Venmo history. Mike had developed a habit of requesting $5, $40 from random people like someone trying to crowdsurf a debt tsunami. From Sarah, he requested Duba, pizza, laundry, just send 20 PLs. The word PLs was my personal favorite. Nothing screams financial ruin like begging for 20s from your new soulmate. By week 3, mutual friends started sliding into my DMs with intel like they were reporting war updates. Yo, not to start drama, but did Sarah always look this tired? She told Taylor she's under a lot of pressure, lol. Mike's been asking people to spot him for gas. Gas money is a tier of desperation that humbles everyone eventually, but Mike didn't just live in the gas money tier. He built a condo complex there. One friend said, Sarah hinted that I withheld information from her. I didn't correct her, I didn't confirm or deny. I just sipped my iced coffee and said, oh, with the enthusiasm of a cat staring at an ant. Week 4 was when the comedy routine officially turned into a Greek tragedy. Sarah texted from her sister's phone. I didn't realize Mike was behind on his car. It was cute. Behind implied he could catch up. The reality was repossession. Agents had been circling the car like vultures, waiting for the corpse to stop twitching. According to the grapevine, the repo guy didn't even need to tow it. Mike voluntarily handed over the keys just to avoid confrontation. Mike folded like a cheap dollar store lawn chair. Sarah cried. Mike shrugged, and that was day 1. Day 3. Mike borrowed Sarah's debit card to buy groceries. Except groceries somehow translated to 1 roll of scratch-offs, cheap vape pods, a 6-pack of gas station energy drinks, and a Fortnite skin for his Xbox, the saddest part. He didn't even win on the scratch-offs. Day 5, he promised to pay her back. I genuinely don't know why men believe those words are magical spells. Day 7, I get a DM from a friend with a screenshot. Did you know Sarah gave Mike $3,200 for debt consolidation? $3,000. 3,000. I once gave Mike a $12 Chipotle bowl, and he treated it like the Nobel Peace Prize. By week 5, Sarah had lost her phone, her car access savings, and whatever remained of her optimism. Now she wanted to talk. She messaged me from her mom's account. I feel like it's unfair that you didn't warn me. And this was the part that made every neuron in my body fist pump in sync. Because the only thing more satisfying than karma is self-awareness arriving late to the party. Sweating, holding a shattered champagne flute. I finally replied. Not with a paragraph. Not with closure. Not with emotional labor. Just one thing. A single laughing emoji. Exactly 2 minutes later she sent, "You're being cruel." Cruel would have been giving her advice. Advice makes people think they can escape consequences. Silence forces them to crawl through every stage of denial alone. Then I sent a link. Not an apology link. Not a therapist link. A link to a debt consolidation service. I didn't even add text. The link alone was poetry. Schadenfreude is the emotion no one admits to loving, but everyone secretly cherishes. Watching the people who betrayed you collapse under their own choices feels like justice wearing designer heels. And yet, this wasn't even the collapse. This was the tremor before the earthquake. Because as much as I savored watching their private implosion, the universe apparently decided private wasn't dramatic enough. The real downfall didn't happen in texts or DMS. It didn't happen over brunch or in motel rooms. It happened in public, in front of everyone, with witnesses, with consequences, with volume. The kind of implosion that doesn't just ruin a relationship, it ruins a reputation. And the best part, I didn't even plan it. I just attended. There are controlled burns. And then there are wildfires. What went down at Cassidy's 26th birthday party was the latter, except instead of trees. It was reputations catching fire. Cassidy's birthdays had always been events. Not parties, events, Pinterest's level decorations, themed cocktails, photo booth props, the whole influencer starter kit. This year was golden hour glam, which meant sequins, gold straws, and a playlist full of songs Sarah used to rant about being overplayed. She showed up anyway, wearing a sparkly dress that could have doubled as reflective emergency gear. Everyone noticed, not because she looked good, though she did, but because Mike was behind her like a sad chauffeur, carrying 3 plastic grocery bags that did not contain gifts. They contained ingredients for his famous vodka punch, according to Sarah, which translated to cheap vodka, off-brand Hawaiian punch, and a bag of melting ice that leaked onto the tile floor. Cassidy looked at the puddle like she was witnessing a crime. The room's atmosphere shifted just slightly, but enough that even the balloons felt judgmental. I stayed near the bar cart, sipping champagne like I was narrating a nature documentary. Observe. The newly fused couple enters the habitat. One is nervous, one is delusional. Tension levels are high. Mutual friends whispered to each other with wide eyes and raised brows, the universal language of what the hell is happening. Sarah fluttered around, greeting people, overselling happiness so aggressively you'd think she was trying to convince a jury. Meanwhile, Mike parked himself near the snack table like it was a defensive position in a video game. But the best part, Sarah kept glancing at me every 3 or 4 seconds, like I was a smoke detector. She could hear beeping but couldn't locate it. Silence does that to a guilty mind. The true implosion started at hour 2, when the doorbell rang. Now, normally, at a birthday party, a doorbell means new guests, maybe a delivery, maybe the neighbors telling you to turn the music down. It does not usually mean 2 men in fluorescent safety vests, holding a clipboard and asking loudly, "Which one of y'all is Sarah Lasney?" The music didn't stop, but the vibe did. An emergency break. Everyone looked around. Sarah stepped forward, confused but trying to look polite. "That's me," she said. Can I, ma'am? We're here for the 2020 Nissan Sentra Black. License ending in 317. Every face in the room went flat. Half the guests froze mid-sip. Someone choked on a pretzel. Even the birthday balloons seemed to hover closer for gossip. Sarah blinked. "What? That's my car, correct? But you put it up as collateral from Mr. Mike's last name, as part of the loan agreement." You could hear a pin drop. or in this case, a lead confetti light glitch. Every head pivoted to Mike, who was chewing, just chewing, like they'd asked if he ate gluten. Sarah's voice cracked. "Mike, you told me you said it was just paperwork." The repo guy cut her off, holding out the clipboard like a judge offering a final ruling. "We need the keys." And that was it. Sarah shattened. Not a cute tear. Not a single cinematic streak. Full meltdown. Ugly, sobbing, accusations, vol, the works. Sarah spun toward Mike, mascara streaking down her cheeks like war paint. "You used my car for your debt. Are you insane? You said it was temporary? You said they weren't real collectors?" Mike had 3 responses and all of them were stupid. First, "Babe, relax." Second, "It's not even that much money." Third, "You're embarrassing yourself." That last one lit the match, because nothing enrages a woman faster than being betrayed publicly and then told to self-regulate. She shoved him hard enough that his solo cup did a full arc and splashed pink liquor onto Cassidy's cream rug. Cassidy screamed, "The carpet," which was objectively iconic. Then Sarah turned on me, and here's the part that still plays in my head like stand-up comedy. "This is your fault," she yells. "You You knew he was like this. You should have warned me." The entire room swung their gaze to me. Drama, for a fight, for closure, for blood. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't stand. I didn't put down my glass. I just shrugged. Small, controlled, surgical. "I did warn you," I said, "years ago. You were just too busy being jealous." To Liz, silence. Pure silence. The kind you get before a judge bangs a gavel. Sarah's mouth opened, closed, it opened again. No words. The repo guys took the keys. The Sentra left the driveway. Mike followed them outside, yelling something about rights and "I just need a few more days," which made everyone inside laugh quietly into their cups. Sarah crumbled onto the couch like a collapsed tent. She didn't look at me again. She didn't look at anyone. People whispered softly. "I didn't know it was Dad Badam Shiga played OP dodged a whole bullet. Schadenfreude has a laugh track and it was loud that night." But here's the thing. Losing the car wasn't the worst part. Not for Sarah. Not for Mike. The car was just the appetizer. Because 2 days later, something happened that not only ended their relationship, but forced Sarah to crawl back to me, who broke and begging. And the question that kept viewers hooked was simple. Would I take her back or slam the door in her face? There's a moment after chaos when the universe takes a breath. It doesn't apologize. It just pauses briefly to assess whether anyone involved has learned a damn thing. Spoiler, Mike didn't. 2 days after the birthday disaster, the friend group's group chat exploded. You know it's serious when adults start sending texts, paragraphs unironically. Taylor dropped the first bomb. "Did y'all see Sarah's story?" Before anyone could reply, screenshots followed. I opened Instagram and there she was. Sarah, hair in a messy bun, no makeup, emotional filter on high. The caption read, "Sometimes the people we love hide parts of themselves. Sometimes we ignore red flags. Sometimes we get hurt. Healing now." Translation: the situation is a dumpster fire and I need public sympathy. But the real update came 5 minutes later, when Cassidy leaked the actual tea in the group chat. They broke up. Sarah kicked Mike out. He was staying with her this whole time. He's at his mom's now. Mike at his mother's house was poetic, considering she enabled half his chaos and financially assisted exactly none of it. The woman had once told me debt was part of his creative process. Apparently Sarah found out that the $3,200 she gave him wasn't for debt consolidation, but for 2 things: to pay off part of a gambling server Bonto, buy a digital car in a racing game, not a real car, not a used car, not even a toy car, a digital car. When Taylor wrote, he told her it was an investment, I genuinely had to put my phone down and pace my apartment like a preacher trying to process scripture. By Friday afternoon, I heard the knock, the kind of knock you hear in movies before someone confesses murder or love. 3 taps. Hesitant, hopeful, humiliated. I opened the door and there stood Sarah, repified, hoodie, no mascara, holding a paper bag like it contained evidence from a crime scene. She didn't look angry anymore, or smug, or satisfied. She looked small. And for 1 millisecond, just when I felt a flicker of pity. Betrayal softens when it's stripped of pride. I brought cupcakes, she said. Cupcakes. from the bakery we used to go to together. As if sugar could undo cheating and stupidity, I leaned against the doorframe. "Why are you here, Sarah?" She swallowed hard. "I messed up." Silence. "I thought you were jealous or bitter." Another swallow. "Bet you were being kind by not saying anything." That almost made me laugh. Kindness had nothing to do with it. "I wanted you to learn," I said. "Not listen." She nodded, eyes shiny. "I miss you. I miss our friendship. I never shouldn't have done that to you." But it was the apology, the admission, the ego death. But here's the twist, the part the audience never expects from these stories. I had already forgiven her, not because she deserved it, not because I'm a saint, but because forgiveness isn't for the betrayer, it's for the exit. The moment you forgive someone, they lose their hold on your story. Their betrayal stops being a wound and becomes a punchline. Still, an apology doesn't equal restoration. So I smiled and said, "I don't befriend people who steal my trash." A face flickered hurt, confusion, realization. She tightened her grip on the cupcake bag as if it weighed 50 pounds. "I get it," she whispered. "I'm sorry." And then she did the smartest thing she'd done in months. She left. Mike, he's reinvented himself as a crypto consultant on Facebook Marketplace, which is a title only slightly more credible than professional saga. Sorta, last I heard. He tried to sell someone financial advice for $40 and got blocked immediately. He also attempted to DM me 2 months later with, "Hey stranger." I ignored him. Not out of anger. Just boredom. Sarah. She went through her healing era journaling therapy, deleting pictures, exercising, all the basic post-disaster software updates. Then she quietly got a job at a different firm and moved to a smaller apartment. We haven't spoken since the cupcakes. Sometimes friends need closure, sometimes they need consequences. And me, I upgraded. New apartment, new job title, new circle. A partner who buys real flowers and pays real bills with real money. No repo men, no Venmo requests, no digital cars. Most importantly, no chaos. Here's the wild part though, the detail no one ever knew. Not Sarah, not Mike, not the group chat. When Mike and I broke up, I planned to warn her. I drafted a whole message listing every red flag, every debt collector, every bad decision. I even wrote, "Sarah, don't date him. Seriously." But I deleted it, not out of pettiness, not out of revenge, out of curiosity, because some lessons don't teach unless they're lived. She wasn't betrayed by me. She was betrayed by the fantasy she built of being the exception. Every woman thinks she'll be the one who tames the chaos. No one thinks they'll be the one who gets repoed in front of 32 party guests. So tell me, honestly, was I an asshole for letting her learn the hard way? Or was staying silent the most merciful revenge of all? Drop your verdict in the comments. I need to know if I played it right.